The nightlife is the good life. Coming up next on Carolina People. Good morning. Welcome to Carolina People. This morning we're at the Fox 43 studio. We're visiting with a local author, Frederick Peachey Andrews. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Thank you so much for coming in. Do you mind if we call you Peachey?
No, sir. Everybody else does. I'd feel more comfortable if you call me Peachey. By everybody else calling me Peachey, and that fits me more.
Sure. How'd you get that name, Peachey?
I was the fifth child of the family, and my mama was wanting a girl. And my Uncle Fred, he nicknamed me Peachey, so they named me after him, Fred Andrews. Mm-hmm. And I've been with Peachey Andrews all my life. Everybody that knows me, it's just a nickname that's hung with me.
Mm-hmm. You said she wanted a girl. Is that because she didn't have any? Or
she had 4 boys, and she wanted a girl.
So
I was
you're
the
the
fifth child.
Fifth boy.
Fifth boy.
Golly.
Yeah.
What was that like, growing up with 4 older brothers?
Well, they was nice. They was, we had a very close family, and they treated me very nice. Mm-hmm. And I had a wonderful mama and a daddy, and it was very nice being their child.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Where'd you grow up, Peachey?
I grew up in Darlington County, but I stayed over there for a while, and then in probably 72 I moved to Florence. And 74 we was farmers. 74 was the last year I farmed, and I opened up Joker's Auto Brokers in front of the fairground. Mm-hmm. And I had it for a few years, and then I got into the wholesaling.
Wholesaling what?
Wholesaling cars.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And well, it just went on. Then I took it and opened up Andrews Auto Brokers over on Irby Street, 1800 South Irby Street. And I rented a place for Mr. Charlie Don Smith over there. And I was there. We run a poker game and gambled out of the house, but we also had our car lot there. And we had a real super crowd of people that come and played. They was local, and some of them was from out of town, but we had a real nice crowd and good people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Peachey, talk a little bit about growing up on a farm setting. Before we get into, obviously, the book, right. The nightlife is the good life. Let's talk a little bit about your childhood.
Well, you take when we was coming up, at our time, a lot of moonshine was being made, and I followed my uncle and them. He came back from World War II, Earl Blackman, and he didn't have there just wasn't a whole heap of jobs and stuff, and so he was in the moonshining business, and I watched him how he did it. And then probably in the 50s, I got into my own little enterprise, making moonshine by night and growing corn by day.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Son of a gun. Now, when you talk about moonshine, for viewers, let's say, from anywhere who may not be familiar with moonshine, what exactly is it, and how easy is it to make? It's
homemade liquor, and you take you some rye, either wheat, and you put it in a barrel, and you take it and let it soak and put sugar in it, and you just, when it works off, then you put it in a copper pot and you run it. And when it first runs out, it's probably about 190 to 200 proof.
No, like Everclear.
Yep. And then you run probably about half of it comes out. It keeps, the more you run, the weaker the strength gets, and you run about 12 jars out of a barrel, and you proof it down to about 80 to 85 or 90 proof. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But that's basically about moonshining. But after later in life, in the 60s, we got into it where we was running tanks. Mm. You put 2,000 pounds of sugar in it, and the bran and stuff, and it would run about 60 cases. Wow. And you'd have to proof it down. But I had a quite experience in the moonshine business back when I was younger. We used to carry it to North Carolina. We had a fellow from New York come and bought it, carried it back up there. I'm quite sure all the folks that we used to do business with probably did. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't want to name them no way.
Right, sure, of course.
Yeah.
Well, when you talk about, obviously, being in that business, I mean, it's thoroughly beyond you. I mean, nothing can come back and bite you now. But
No.
I mean, at that time, you had to be real careful.
Certainly, you had to be real careful. The law and for which we made liquor for the law. Grover Bryant was the sheriff, and everybody knew that we made a lot of liquor together, the sheriff and I, over in Darlington County, and we had a lot of good times, and we had a lot of so-so times. It wasn't so good. But then the revenuers wasn't looking for you. That was what you had to watch for.
Well, now, moonshine could have had its popularity. Was it because ABC stores weren't around then? Or, I mean, were there stores?
They had ABC stores, but they was higher than what the moonshine. You could buy a bottle of moonshine, pint or half a gallon for $3. And it was good liquor. It was good and clean. Anybody drank it, and it was real good. I sold many a jar to a lot of respectable people, and
yeah, you don't have to name any of them either. That's right, Peachey. Well, that's exciting, and I'm sure you're very careful about who your client base is or was at that time. Sure.
But you didn't have to advertise it, because everybody that drank it said, well, you can go out to Peaches and get some of the best moonshine that's in the county.
Wow.
And word of mouth was the best advertisement you could get.
Yeah, yeah. That is very interesting. I think I saw at an early age that you actually, based off your connection to moonshine, made a trip down to Columbia, South America.
Yeah, I had a friend that he had a plane, and I was at a poker game in Lake City, and he asked me, I was there, and he come by and he said, well, what are you doing? I said, I'm not doing anything. He said, come on, let's take a ride, and we go over to the airport, and he says, I've got somewhere I want you to go with me, and we flew down to South America.
That must have been wild for a young guy in Darlington County.
Yeah, it was quite enchanting. See, when we flew down to South America, we talking about in the 50s. When I flew down to South America was probably in '84. But, you know, it was quite exciting to be from Darlington and flying down to a country, and him flying his own private plane and flying in the way we did. Yeah.
Golly, it's so fascinating as we hear that plane fly over us right now. It's amazing to think about how planes have had such an impact on communities.
It is. It really are. You take, it was something just to get in. He had a twin-engine plane, and we flew down there, and he was wanting to set some kind of I forgot the name of it that you use on boats, and, you know, to carry you back and fire the way you flew. That's all the trip was about. But I had it was an experience.
Sure. Let's go ahead and segue into your book, The Nightlife is the Good Life. The book came out right at a year ago, Peachey.
Yes, sir. The book came out in
2003, right?
2003. It took me about probably 6.5 or 7 years to write the book.
Is that right?
But I lived the story, and I'm thankful that I was able to be amongst everybody and write it and let people know about the book, because what's in the book is the truth.
All true.
All true. It's documented, and you take. It's quite an enchanting story to live the life that I lived during that time, because when I first went to the law, I didn't want to go to the law, but Bill Prince and Charlie Don Smith was the main two people that was in it, and they came to me to find a hitman. Well, I reckon some time had went by, and they took it and came back to me, and they said they'd found somebody local to do it, and I said, well, that's fine. They had Mr. Graham and Charlie and them had spits and spats before, and I more or less thought they was just, you know, having a little steam that was going to blow off at that June the 10th in 97. They killed him in his house and burned him up.
Golly, it was in 1997.
97, June the 10th.
Golly.
I didn't see anything about it, and finally they dug the guy up. Paul Bradley was one that and Charles McCrae was the one that killed him. Well, when they took it and had Paul to kill Charles McCrae, Paul Bradley, I'm telling it wrong, Paul Bradley. And you take, that sort of put me on WOHO, so it scared me a little bit. Then they called me up and said if you didn't keep your GD mouth shut, they was going to take care of me too. And that's the reason I went to the South Carolina law enforcement and told them what I knew about it.
Well, Peachey, why in the world did Smith come to you as the hitman in the first place?
Well, I was a gambler. I never hid anything I'd ever done. I went to Vegas probably once to twice a month, and I'd go out there and stay. I had the car lot, but I had Mr. Tom Tyler to run the business for me, and I was a gambler, and they just felt like that I probably could go in my past and in character of people that I probably could find somebody to do that.
A hitman.
A hitman.
Golly.
But you take it was something else just knowing the people, because both of them was millionaires. And
both these men were millionaires who talked to you about finding a hitman to kill Billy Graham.
Right. They was millionaires. Charlie Dunn, he was the president of the Citizens Bank in Atlanta, and which he was tried and he was acquitted on it. But he wasn't acquitted. The judge overruled the jury, and it went to Supreme Court of South Carolina. They ordered a new trial, and he was never tried again.
Charlie Dunn.
Charlie Dunn Smith. Bill Prince's conviction was held up. The Supreme Court overruled Judge Anderson on that. And you take, let's see, it was in, must have been in '94, that's when it came back. And when Bills came back, that he was going to have to go to jail, he got a life sentence. Well, there must have been a leak in the seal because Bill hit the road. And while he was gone, he took it and, he just went everywhere. He went to, like, down in South America and Florida and everywhere else. But he came back, and it must have been in 95 or 96.
And we're talking about 1995, not 85, 80. I mean, we're talking...
Yeah, this was
right.
already went on from the trial.
Okay.
The trial had already taken place, and they had already been tried and sentenced. And Bill took it and hit the road. And while he was on the road, December the 17th of '94, I got out of the car at the house, and it was around midnight or between 12 and 1. They shot at me twice with the shotgun.
Golly.
And I shot back 5 times at them, and the car took it in. The truck that they was driving was a new pickup. It went in the ditch. I thought I'd had them. I shot the back glass out of it. And luckily to them, they pulled back out and went on down the road, and it put me on what you call a red alert, I reckon, because I didn't go nowhere. I was very cautious. He had somebody to take and contact me, and I met him at the mall in '96, Mr. Charlie Don Smith. He says, I'll give you $1 million if you will change your testimony, just a few words, where Bill Prince can get a new trial. And I told him I'd have to think about it. And
he met you at the mall and offered you $1 million. This is all in your book.
It's all in the book.
Well, now, has anyone come up to try to refute anything at all?
No, nobody said one word about it.
Now, where is this Charlie Smith now?
Charlie's deceased. Bill's deceased. Both of them has passed away. But nobody's I've had no one to come up and contest anything that was in the book.
No one in their estate, or, I mean, these are people from the PD area. As you're talking about millionaires, they must have a lot of relatives and others around that area, and none of them...
Nobody has contested anything about it because it all came from court documents. And when Charlie met me at the mall, there was a guy that came to me to set the meeting up between Charlie and I. He was a neutral friend. He told me, he says, if you have any problem of talking with me about this, I won't talk with you. But he said, Mr. Charlie wants to meet you and talk with you. And that's why I went to the Magnolia Mall. That was on probably about the 14th of December. Well, on the 17th is when they tried to kill me on a Saturday night.
Wow.
And you take, then that happens, they catch Bill in Tennessee. They brought him back, and he was sent to the pen up there near Bennettsville. And he was in there serving his time, but he met this guy and there was serving his time. And he said he needed to find somebody to kill 4 or 5 people. But one that he wanted killed was Peachey Andrews. Well, you take, the guy told him that he could get that done. So he takes it and calls the FBI in Columbia, Rob Weibenheimer. He was with the FBI special agent, very nice fella. And they took it and put a sting on it, and they came and got me and told me what was happening and said, we need your corporation to pull this deal off. So they carried me out in the woods with Sled. Sled's very good law enforcement too. Chief Robert Stewart, I'd have to take my hat off to him if I could. But all the law enforcement's been very good to me. And anyway, getting back to where they was hiring a hitman, they carried me out in the woods and took a picture of me just like he'd shot me, and took it and carried it back to Bill, and Bill looked at it and said, well, I'll get my brother Don to take it and pay the guy. So they go up to the 93-mile marker near Columbia on 20, and then Lloyd set a sting up there where when Don come to pay the man for the hit, they took him down there.
This is Don Smith?
Don Prince.
Don Prince.
Don Prince. He was a major league baseball player for the Chicago Cubs. And that was back in the 60s, 67 in there. But he lived in Wilmington, and he was quite a successful businessman, and he had access to airplanes and yachts and stuff. And when Bill was on the run, he helped Bill. And, well, when the FBI taking Don down, that was the last time that I've had anybody to make an attempt on my life. But I still take it and travel very cautious, and it's not quite as bad as it used to be because I feel like it's right safe, you know, but I just don't want to drop my guard 100%.
Right, golly. So now, I don't know if you feel comfortable sharing that on air, but do you still carry a automatic pistol at all?
Yeah, everywhere I go. I carry a 380 pistol, even a 45 with me everywhere I go. If I get out anywhere I go, that's just part of my life, is just, and being...
You mean you've got a gun now here in the studio? My Lord, I should have told...
yeah, I've got my gun with me now, and you take, that's just everywhere I go. It's just a habit that I've got. If I put my pants on, I've got my gun on.
Wow, that's incredible. Peachey, well, that must be strange. Do you feel... I know you said you feel more comfortable now than you did, but when you lay your head down at night, are you fearful to close your eyes? Well,
you take, before they went to jail and everything, my bedfellows was a 45 caliber machine gun and a 10-gauge shotgun.
You had a machine gun by your bed?
I had it in the bed with me.
My Lord.
But everywhere I went, I took it and carried that with me until Bill and them got in captivity. After it came down and they got time and stuff, I don't carry that with me anymore. But I do carry my pistol with me everywhere I go.
Well, you know, I'm looking at the contents of the book. In the book, The Nightlife is the Good Life. Real quick, what about that title? How'd you get The Nightlife is the Good Life?
Well, before all this happened, the nightlife was a good life to me. I've always been a gambler. I've never hid anything I've ever done. I've always tried and played open hand and let the chips fall where they may. If I was successful enough to be a winner, I was a winner. But I've never been a cheat or crook or nothing. I've always been the same fellow today that you'll see tomorrow.
That's amazing. Well, you know, it's so fascinating. The book doesn't publicize and all the details add kind of some flame to the fire?
Well, I've lived the life to write the book, and I don't feel like I've probably got too much time left. But you take, it has taken its toll on me because I have health problems. I take 5 or 6 kind of medications a day. My medication probably runs me about $31.45 a day. I don't have no insurance to buy it. I have to buy it myself.
Wow, Peachey, well, that's a big deal. How about the book seems to really conjure an incredibly vivid imagery of all this. How do you remember so much?
Well, I've always had a good mind, and I never forget anything. And I'm thankful to have a mind like I've got, because all that's in the book, I took it and remembered it, and all of it's in there is the way it happened. And I don't, want nobody to think I'm no genius or nothing, but I'm just an average old country boy trying to survive.
As I look in here, you've got 38 chapters, all of them obviously different. And when you think about, of course, as I go down there through there, chapter 12, Nightmare to Hell, chapter 16, The Thugs Are Caught. It's incredible to see chapter 27, Fred Bites the Grass.
That's when I got out of the car on December the 17th, and the guy rode by in a pickup truck, 2 of them, and shot at me with a shotgun. And I had to dive down on the ground, and the buckshot sounded like sparrows going by my body, and I rolled over where I had a house there, a trailer house, and it had burnt down. And the next load hit it. I was apparently lucky enough to be where I could be right behind it. When the truck rode by, that's when I started shooting. I had 7 bullets in the gun, but I didn't want to empty it. I shot 5. But that's why I eat the grass.
Golly, Peachey. That is unbelievable.
That is. That's quite an enchanting story.
I know you said enchanting. It seems just terrifying to me.
Yeah, it's quite terrifying, but it is. It's quite a story.
Golly, and you think, lastly, I want to ask you about chapter 36. I know there's still a couple more after that, but definition of a true friend.
The definition of a true friend is someone that walks in when everyone else walks out. That's the definition of a true friend.
And how did you come up to the realization of that definition?
Well, I've had since I've got into this in '87, and the true friends that I had was only a few. You take Bobby Cribb was one of them, and he was always like a brother to me. A lot of people would see me and say, well, where's your brother? They thought Bobby and I was brothers, but we was no kin. But he was a very good guy. And you take Bob Walls. He's another guy that's a very good fellow, and he's the type of person that you can base that on of being a true friend.
You know, I do want to say real quick, we jump into chapter 37, and most of these chapters are 5-10 pages long, but then chapter 37 is a good 150 pages long, and that is The Jackals Get Justice. There is a heck of a lot going into that chapter. It's incredible to see. And of course, you got some amazing pictures in here, and a lot of the articles from PD area newspapers. Princeton Eyes Killing, we're looking at one there at chapter 29, and so many folks. But to think about 2 millionaires being involved in that, looking to take somebody out, Billy Graham, and then obviously looking to take you out. It's incredible.
It is. I tell you what, you take, I would have never thought they'd have been that type of fellows to turn out to be that kind of thugs or do something like that. But they really did. You talk about the local papers in Florence. Florence Morning News was very good to me. When I wrote the book and it came out, they put a big spread in their paper. Brenda Harris over there with her newspaper, she put out a very nice, and the state. I had all of them, the Darlington News and Press, the Hartsville, Kingstree, Marion, Star, all of them was very, and it's the reason the book is sold so well is because I got so much local support from the people. And it has really sold fantastic. And I thank everybody for buying my book. And I will have another one coming out probably in about 7 or 8 months. It might be 10.
Peachy. Now, the number that a viewer could get it is at the 843-621-2352.
Yes, sir. If they call me at that number, if they don't get me, leave it on my voicemail, and I'll be glad to take it and return their call. I'll return all my calls, and
if you don't mind, Peachy, folks can call you to get the. I see there's 6 or more stores now currently selling the book. We got less than a minute. I wanted to ask you, what's life like for you now, almost 20 years later?
Well, life is worth living. When I get through here Tuesday, I'll be going on the road selling my book, and I'm gonna take a little trip, take some time off. I'm going to gamble.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Gambling's in your blood.
Gambling's in my blood. But that's what life is about. Doing what you like to do.
Take it easy, absolutely. Thanks so much for being with us this morning, Peachy.
Yes, sir, I certainly do. Thank you for being kind enough to have me down this morning. And I thank you again, sir.
Absolutely. Stay tuned to more Carolina People with Peachey Andrews coming up next. The book is The Nightlife is the Good Life. The author, Peachey Andrews, is visiting with us today. You can catch the book at Books A Million in Florence, Happy Bookseller in Columbia, Ray's Novel Shop in Florence, Patricia's in Darlington, Palmetto House in Kingstree, and Bury Bookstore in Hartsville. Or you can catch the Discovery Channel's FBI Files program and its episode Operation Broken Trust, which is based on Peachey's book, The Nightlife is the Good Life. Take a look at it. You'll love it.